And welcome back to Bobbin's Minecraft Let's Play featuring the Infinity Evolved Skyblock mod pack. This is episode 30. It doesn't look very much like a skyblock, does it? We got guards over here and all these villager huts and some nice terrain and water. So it doesn't look very much like a skyblock, does it? Well, I'm in a village in the spirit world. And that is why it doesn't look very much like a skyblock, I guess. It's also why I don't have any good tools and why I'm running around without any armor on, well, except for some engineer's overalls and trackman's goggles that I picked up. At the moment, I'm raiding villages, and when I get done raiding this village, I will go back to my base and unload things, and I will rejoin you then. I got some wooden storage crates from Immersive Engineering, so I can actually make quite a haul out of this village and a couple others, and I will see you when I'm ready to unload it all. Alright, I'm back at my main island base in the witchery spirit world, and I guess let me just say a few things about the spirit world here, and let me get off debug so you can see what's going on. I got quite a haul from all that stuff. A lot of it is seeds from agricraft, indirectly harvestcraft as well. But I did get some equipment. I only got one steam engine because my pickaxe that I initially went out with was not sufficient to harvest these items, but I did get an upgrade to the pickaxe head in a Tinker's Construct villager hut. But I got quite a bit of various sorts of equipment and seeds, and like the furnace will be useful. Not all this stuff will be useful. Probably the most interesting thing to get is lots of creosote and treated sticks, because that will eliminate the need to build a creosote oven early on. As you can see, I've done some digging here and I've built a few things. I've actually spent several hours here in the spirit world. I just sort of came over here while I was working on, waiting on electrotine to be made from all the sand sifting going in the base, because I'm getting pretty close at this point to the ultimate solar panel, and I just needed to have some time for it to go. The problem with coming over here is that, first of all, I don't think you actually need anything from the witchery spirit world in the main sort of achievements for the mod pack. If you happen to want to do witchery beyond what's required in the mod pack, then eventually you'll have to come over here, because you'll need flowing spirit and you'll need wispy cotton and a few other resources. As for the main project for the mod pack itself, I don't think you need to be here. One thing that you could get here that's a useful resource is spawners, because there are mob spawners in this world and there aren't in your main world. The problem with using this as a location to get those, and they're useful for draconic evolution actually, but one of the reasons that they're hard to deal with from here is that there's really no good way to get things from here back into the main world. Now, you can do it. What you would need to do is you would need to find a source of ender pearls or ender eyes and make an ender chest, and then make another ender chest in your base, and then you can pass items back and forth. And eventually you could probably build a gateway using draconic evolution to just walk over here rather than having to drink potions and that sort of stuff to get here. Certainly an option. The one way that I definitely know of to get ender pearls in this dimension is bee breeding. If you get the winsome bee, it's a reasonably achievable bee. You'll spend days doing it, but it is still more achievable than most of them. You'll have to have a Botania set up to get some of the drones that you're going to need. But if you were to get that bee, you could produce ender pearls here. I can tell you, you cannot get ender pearls here by killing endermen because they don't spawn in this dimension. You can't get them from growing ender lilies. You can actually find ender lily seeds here. If you go to a magical forest biome, there are quite a few spawners. And from the spawners, you'll basically it's a cobweb style greatwood tree, and they've got a spawner under them, and underneath the spawner is a chest. And if you were to go and open those chests, it's pretty common to get ender lily seeds, and you can plant them in this dimension and they'll grow, but you'll never get an ender pearl from harvesting one. I think you might be able to get eyes of ender as opposed to ender pearls from villagers by trade. It's probably a pretty rare trade. I don't know that I have seen it in this dimension, but it's probably still there. Winsome Bees definitely works. That's one way to do it. Now, if you do come over here, what's going to happen is you're going to land in the middle of the ocean in an island. There will be a couple of islands within eye shot. This is one of them. This is probably the bigger one. It's not the first one you'll see. You'll see a different one first, most likely. It'll be totally dark. You'll be chased by your nightmare. There'll be mobs everywhere. You'll be in a nightmare because you came over just from drinking the potion and you didn't have the necessary dream catcher to mitigate your chances of coming over in a nightmare. So what you're going to have to do as soon as you do that is you're going to have to start swimming, and you're going to have to find some land with some wispy cotton on it. At this point I have quite a bit of wispy cotton. If you've never seen it, it looks like this, and if you harvest it in a nightmare as opposed to in the daylight, it will turn into disturbed cotton, and disturbed cotton will follow you. There are just a handful of items that will follow you back into the main world when you wake up, and one of them is wispy cotton, one of them is disturbed cotton, potions of flowing spirit is another. There are just a handful of witchery items that can follow back and forth. You'll get disturbed cotton, you can take it back to the main world, you run it through a spinning wheel using a recipe to get what's called tormented twine, and then you can make a dream catcher, it's a dream catcher of nightmares, and that will let you come over here in the daylight when you don't have the nightmare and so on. But you've got to get 12 of these things, and they're not easy to find, and you're stuck in the water and you're being chased by all the mobs and everything. It is doable. It took me 3 trips to do it. However, you might be able to do it in less, because after 2 trips I had 11 of them. On the 3rd trip I just needed 1 more, and I was so disgusted that there was one right there in front of me, and I finally got killed. It does help to have the extra hearts from Tinker's Construct in advance. I've got 30 hearts total right now, as you can see by my yellow heart bar there. They do carry over into this dimension. You cannot, however, if you pull up your inventory, see the tabs up top, so you can't adjust anything. You can't load any chunks, so you really can't do anything here other than set up a little base for making flowing spirit and doing your witchery stuff, unless you really want to invest a whole lot of time in it. Maybe it's worth it to you. I'm not really planning on it. I don't think it's even necessary to do the witchery stuff here for this mod pack. I do have a base set up so that if I need to, then I will have sort of the basic stuff. And I've accumulated quite a bit of stuff here, but there's still no metals processing or anything like that. And of course I can't do anything that depends on ender pearls here at this time. So that's sort of what I've been doing between episodes while waiting on things. Let me wake up and go back to the main base, and I will see you there. Okay, back at the base here where I'm about to achieve. I'm working on the last of the these solar panels right here, the advanced solar panels. that's needed before making the ultimate solar panel. So let me go ahead and dismantle these solar panels since I will need them. I bet none of them stacked. They're stacked in 2 stacks. Okay. They have different amounts of energy based on how much was drawn out of them. So it's busy crafting the last one. It's still got a little while to go since it's got to do another 270 of the lowest tier. The other component that we're going to need for this is, let me just go look at the recipe here. It's this right here, the Ultimate Solar Core. And the Ultimate Solar Core is already programmed into the system, I think. Yes. So let's go ahead and craft one of those. And it goes right in the middle. And then we're going to surround it with the other panels. And we've still got one that we're waiting on. Let's see how much time we got here. Should be just about done, it looks like. It's always one of those things in this game. You wait on things. Of course, here I'm waiting on Applied Energistics to do a bunch of crafting automatically that would probably take me a month if I... Okay. Under attack. There we go. Always these little surprises. Yeah, I need to clean up my warp. My warp is way too high. My permanent warp is probably high enough to keep those things attacking me, but I definitely need to do something about the warp that I can get rid of. Okay, solar. That's what we were doing. Now, I'm not having the system automatically make this because it is an achievement for crafting it, so I need to go ahead and do it by hand. Just this one combined, but I don't think I'm going to be making very many ultimate solar panels, so I don't really need to automate it anyway. Let me go ahead and pull this out, and hopefully we'll achieve and we will not crash like we did on the last achievement. Alright. Power forever, or at least when it's sunny. That fog still hasn't cleared. Or maybe another one spawned? Let me go and put this down on the fence post right there. Now let me fly up here where I won't be harassed by another one of those if another one did spawn. And let's take a look at the achievements here. Actually, the game stops when you do that, so I didn't really need to fly up here, I guess. Okay, so we have now finished. Let's take the bucket and these 2 rows right here. I'm going to call those the early game achievements, even though one of them is for Applied Energistics, and that's quite a ways along. Then let's call these the mid-game achievements. The mid-game achievements are now done, and so we're just left with the end-game achievements. There are really 4 of them here, and then this one I think is automatic once you get the other 4. It's a little odd that it does this one that way because this one is probably always going to be the last one anyone finishes. So we have to make a draconic chest plate and then a creative cell, creative power cell, and then a creative tank. These are from thermal expansion. And then a creative mana pool, which is actually called the Everlasting Guilty Mana Pool. And I don't know that you have to do this one first. It is the next one I will do because it's going to be quite a bit easier than these other 3, I think. The problem with these is that they do have to be done in the order they're shown. The cell is first because you need 4 of the cells to craft the tank. The tank is next because you have to have a tank to craft the mana pool. Let's take a look at the recipes here. For the draconic chest plate, it needs the Weaver chest plate and a bunch of stuff that mostly involves draconium, and you've actually got to have some awakened draconium, so I'm going to have to do a ritual involving respawning and killing dragons or something like that. I've never done it before, I've just read about it. I guess we'll find out when I get ready to do that one. The Weaver chest plate is much more straightforward. I should be able to make that really between episodes. Probably between episodes I'll make a full set of the Weaver armor and the Weaver tools, both. Because most of this stuff is already automated. Things that aren't, like the diamond ore, I'll probably just make a stack of diamond ore. I've got the materials just sort of sitting around, so it's not that big a deal. Quantum body armor. Each one of these pieces of Weaver gear requires the quantum gear from industrial craft. None of that is hard. Most of this stuff is already in the system and automated. The only piece of it that really isn't here is the nanosuit, and it's just some carbon plates and an energy crystal. All of that's quite trivial at this point. So we're really looking at the Draconic as being the more challenging set, not the Weavern, but each one does require a Weavern piece in the middle of it, and likewise all of the Draconic tools require a Weavern tool in the middle of them. So those will all be my next, actually this one doesn't, does it? It just requires the healing axe. Oh, you know, I bet there are, no, there aren't two recipes for it. Those are just charged and not charged states. There's just no axe for the Weavern version. That's a little weird, but I guess it works that way. So between episodes I'll be making this Weavern stuff. The reason I'm able to make it is because I have been accumulating some Draconium. Let's come down here and take a look. I'm up to almost 2,000 ingots of Draconium right now. That's because I went ahead and automated Draconium production. I hadn't been producing very much of it, and the little bit that I'd been producing had been mostly by hand. And that was fine when I only needed a stack or two of it. But clearly going forward, I'm going to need tons of it. So I've got this tower right here of machines, and I may build multiple towers. But what it's doing is the ME interface is getting glowstone, sand, and phosphor, which is a B product. And it's shipping it down here to a squeezer, the sand and the phosphor anyway. And each phosphor and sand is making 2 buckets of lava. The lava is coming over here in a barrel where it's getting combined with the glowstone to produce endstone. The endstone is being pulverized and going down here into a sieve, which has 64 fortune upgrades. So we want to get as much ore as we can out of it. The ore chunks are coming into this auto compressor and being compressed. It produces both platinum and draconium. The platinum is fairly useless, but I've got plenty of it. It's not truly useless, it's just that I've got far more than I need already. But once that's blocked up, it comes down into these 2 hammers, which also have 64 fortune upgrades to maximize output, and gets crushed again and again, and it keeps going around between here and the hammers until, in the case of platinum, it becomes platinum ore dust, and in the case of draconium, it has one additional step and actually becomes draconium dust of this type. And both of those go into the AE system, and they're automatically exported for smelting. So that's working fairly well. The nice thing about using the phosphor here to produce the lava as opposed to using barrels or a lava fabricator or something like that is that phosphor is produced as a side effect of a bee that's also producing the glowstone. So I'm able to produce both the phosphor, essentially the lava except for the sand, and the glowstone. Both products are coming from bees right now. I've just got a whole bunch of demonic bees running up here, since I no longer needed to get uranium from bees because I'm swimming in uranium at the moment. And these are producing the necessary products. And for the moment, that's working out just fine with the draconium. Deadly gaze. Oh, I think that means that I kill things or injure them by looking at them. Let's try it out on a cow. Yeah, cow didn't like that, did it? Let's look at all these animals. Just torture the animals. Yeah, they don't like that. All right. The other thing that I want to do today is I want to go ahead and upgrade my blood orb for blood magic. And to do that, this deadly gaze might actually be handy for that. I don't know. The next one is the Archmages, and it requires a demon blood shard. Now, I'm going to show how to get one of these. I actually already did this fight a little earlier and got one, but I'm going to go ahead and do the fight again on camera just so that we can see what's going on with it. And if I get another blood shard, great. If I don't, then I've already got one and I can make my item with it. So what I've done is I've set up this ring of 6 arcane pedestals with an arcane plinth in the middle. There is a particular pattern these need to go in, and they've got one of these, each one of the pedestals on the outside has one of these ethers in them, which is an alchemy reagent. Using 6 ethers, the elemental that it will summon will be an air elemental. And I chose that one just because the effect is to toss you up in the air. Since I already have flying, it's not that big a deal if I get tossed up in the air. I do want to make sure that I've got my ring of magnetization here so that when it drops stuff, I don't have as much of a risk of losing it if I'm not directly over the platform. We'll put this in here and we will summon the elemental. This thing flies around and it's kind of hard to see, but once it summons, we'll just rapidly kill it off, and where is it? Ah, there it is. And that's it. It died. And it did not drop the item this time, but I do already have the item in a chest over here, and so I can go ahead and upgrade my blood orb, and I will be in good shape that way. Let's see where that is. It's this item right here, the Demon Blood Shard. And I suspect I don't have very much blood in my altar. Let's take a look there. No. 34,650. Flip the lever. How much does this require? It requires 75,000. So I'm not going to be able to do that on camera, I don't think. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up the episode. You've seen it. It's easy enough to craft it. You just put this thing in the altar and wait, and then once it comes out, I'll have to right-click with it in my inventory in order to claim it as my very own. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this an episode, and thank you for watching. I will see you next time.